This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Rameca Vincent Leary and welcome to this edition of inStudio. There are many ways we can reach beyond ourselves to help others, and that giving back is something we can commit to doing every day. As we reflect on society as a whole, there are many who are trying to make a fresh start after having experienced a period of incarceration. In terms of new beginnings, there are numerous avenues to be explored, such as housing, food, healthcare, and employment. During this broadcast, we'll discuss ReEntry Alliance Pensacola, including the various organizations and volunteers who are working collaboratively in these efforts to help men and women who have faced incarceration become reacclimated to society. Stay with us. We'll have more right after this. Welcome back, everyone. During this edition of inStudio, we'll be speaking with representatives from several organizations that have made monumental strides to help others. We'll explore Lakeview Center, Greater Little Rock Baptist Church, and New World Believers. But first, we'll focus our attention on ReEntry Alliance Pensacola, an organization that's forged many community partnerships in its quest to provide second chances for those who have been incarcerated. I'm so happy to welcome Vince Whibbs, Executive Director. He's joined by Rosetta Taylor, Director of Women's Reentry, Alton Johnson, Director of the Rosa County Operation, and Kevin Eason, Director of Housing and Employment. Welcome to all of you.
Glad to be here.
You look so good. I love your REAP shirts.
It's a team.
So you planned this, right?
As a matter of fact, we did.
I'm sure you did. Vince, let's start with you. Give us an overview of ReEntry Alliance Pensacola.
Well, REAP, and we call it REAP.
Yes, REAP.
It was formed about 7 years ago now by Chief Judge Casey Rogers. She recognized that far too many people were reappearing before her court. She dealt at that point in time with a lot of parolees, federal parolees, and she kept seeing them coming back and coming back again. And she felt like there was something more that should be done to help them. And so she came up with the idea that we needed to have some kind of a mentoring program in Pensacola. And she got a bunch of volunteers, mostly attorneys practicing before her court. And they agreed to be the mentors for the guys coming out. And that was the start of it. But probably the most important thing that she did is she recruited a guy by the name of Al Stubblefield, who was at that time the head of Baptist Hospital. He had just retired.
All right.
And he agreed to be the president and chairman of the board. And after that, the rest is kind of history. We went from an organization that had a budget of like $5,000 a year, and everybody was a volunteer, to where we are now. And now we operate about 10 to 12 houses at any given time, housing between 50 and 60 people. We have houses for men and houses for women. And our job really is to pick them up from the bus station and start from there.
All right, we'll talk more about housing later in the show. Love that. So Alton, Rosa County Operation. Expand on that, please.
REAP is the only organization that is currently operating in Santa Rosa County and regarding reentry. And it's the same program basis as what Vinny just described. Is we're taking from, we bring the individual in, we do a plan of care, risk needs assessment, find out what they need, meet their needs, and then through Kevin's efforts and the local people there, is they go into the career development side of it, and they go to employment, and then from employment to be self-sustained.
And Rosetta, we must start somewhere. What piqued your interest in REAP?
For 30 years, I worked in addictions and incarceration and retired.
Okay.
And I went to REAP seeking out volunteer efforts, and I found myself in a job that I absolutely love.
So dealing with the women, there could be a sense of anxiety, right? Someone's just being released from incarceration. Where do I go? A lot of question marks.
Absolutely. Anxiety, fear, shame. There are several things. We as women are more emotional, so we tend to be a little bit more embarrassed about our backgrounds. So one of the things I learned early on in dealing with women, although it's true with everyone, they don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so one of the things that we do, is start out by showing them just how much we care. We pick them up, we talk to them, we communicate, find out what their needs are through an assessment, and then we do a plan of care to help them become more successful. It's a holistic, individualized approach.
I know when it comes to employment and job training, there are some that maybe might not even have a GED or any kind of vocational training or other training for that matter.
I'm a true believer in a second chance because I was given a second chance. And the first two hurdles from a person coming from incarceration is housing and a job. And you do better when you know better. So you get a person a place to sleep where they can take care of themselves, their hygiene, and get a good night's rest, and then turn around and help them find a job. That's two of the biggest hurdles of the beginning of a second chance.
Kevin, I know that there are a lot of educational partnerships, even with Pensacola State College and our adult education GED program.
Yes.
How many men and women have you seen maybe take advantage of such efforts?
I've seen many, and I've also seen, I would say about 15 in the last year or so. However, most of our guys, they don't come back out for education because of their background, and it's a pride thing with men. So
okay.
they want to get out there, they want to work. They feel that they have something to prove. And it's nothing wrong with having nothing to prove, as long as you stay focused and you do what you're supposed to do, because change comes from within, and the individual has to change. But we have to give them the tools and the resources to change, and that's what we do at REEP.
Over the last 5 years, we've worked with over 600 individuals now that have come out. And when those people come out, most of them come out, and they end up with maybe a bus ticket back to Escambia County or Santa Rosa County, and maybe a $50 charge, and that is it. And so they're starting from scratch, and they're looking for help. We know that there's about a third of the people that know what is going to happen.
They do.
And then there's a third that aren't going to do any good at all whatsoever. But the third in the middle, those are the ones that we primarily work with. And through that needs assessment, we'll figure out what their actual needs are, that we'll address those needs and help them become what I would call self-sufficient, crime-free, productive citizens. That's our goal.
Absolutely. Now, Kevin, back to you. What about some of the specific training, trades? Can you name some?
Yes, the training from credit debt management to Think for Change, different type of programs that they are taking. But we have a partnership in construction. We have a partnership with Crown Laundry that's teaching them, the basic skills of pressing and things of that nature. We have, culinary with Jocko's downtown. We have a few guys working there as well.
So Alton, back to you. Within Santa Rosa County Correctional Institution, are a lot of the people in there being trained before they get out in a specific trade or trades?
I cannot attest to what they're doing in Santa Rosa Correctional Institution. I know there are training programs in the different prisons in the state of Florida.
Right.
I'm not sure because there are budget cuts, there are budget issues, and that's what drives what training you have at a particular institution. But I'm not sure what Santa Rosa, what they're...
Right, and there's so many, right? Blackwater, et cetera. So a lot is happening. People are coming together. Rosetta, from a female perspective, with a lot of the women that you have run into, what have they expressed to you regarding maybe trades they would like to learn or things that they would like to pursue when they get out from a job perspective?
All the women that I'm working with currently have children. So one of the first things that is really on their minds is either getting their children back or being able to visit with their children. And since we don't have a place where parents, mothers, and children live, it's just for the mothers, we are very supportive in trying to help them make those connections back into the community. Several of them will go to work. They want to work. They express that, and they actually go and show up and do a great job. They seem to be very grateful and very humble. We have one individual who is a professional prior to going to prison, out now. She's a parent, and she's having to work at Wendy's. But she does it, and she does not look back. And so one of the things I can say is it takes a lot, like I said, not from your head, but from your heart to really get on your feet.
From the heart.
Yeah. And women, the population of women is growing. So it's really good that we are able to provide this in the community.
Exceptional. Vince, back to you. What about eligibility? And let's say we have someone that's been released and they don't have a social security card, they don't have proper identification. Will you expand on that?
Identification is a real problem for people being released from state prison, okay? And a lot of it is because they don't have the birth certificate, and you need to have particular documentation since 9/11. And so we work through opening doors. We work with the local tax collector to make sure that these people end up with that social security card and with some kind of an identification. You can go to work, but if you can't cash your check, it doesn't do you any good. So getting identification right off the bat is of primary importance.
What about eligibility requirements for REAP?
For coming in, I guess the easiest way to describe it is we probably take them all. We make very few distinctions. We don't have the right kind of facilities for someone who's having extreme medical problems. But beyond that, we don't really care what their record was. We don't care how many times they've been in. Our idea of a second chance is whatever second chance you got, we forget about what happened before. We're only concerned about what you're going to do from now on. And so we take them all.
I like that philosophy. Kevin, let's talk about shining moments regarding job placement. I know you've heard back from a lot of people that have gone through the program, haven't you?
I hear from a lot of them. I'm proud of a lot of them. And, you know, it brings tears to my eyes of some of them because I'm still close friends to them. And you asked about the requirements.
Yes.
Vince Whibbs don't know how to tell no one no. So we get
That's not in his vocabulary.
he doesn't know the meaning.
Okay,
no.
what is that?
What is that? But it's been a blessing. We had Herb Price that came through the program that's driving an 18-wheeler now. We have Chester Valentine. He's driving a tow truck now. He bought his own home. It's so many stories. It's so many great stories. We'll be here all night talking about them. But those guys, it's just amazing how they came home. They was given a second chance. And the biggest thing that I try to instill in them, we have to get out the hallways of our past to walk through the doors of our future. So at REAP, whatever you've done in the past, that's on you. It's a fresh start. It's your second chance.
You reap what you sow. Has anybody ever heard that?
All the time.
That's team REAP.
Yeah,
What you're looking at right
This is team REAP right here.
I know it is. Alton, let's go back to you for just a moment. So we heard a story right here from Kevin. What have you heard? Just maybe one example.
I'll give you one example just recently when we had one that came in, very motivated. He came in with a lot, like Rosetta said earlier, a lot of anxiety. He had some goals, but with no means to carry out those, or to meet those goals. Kevin plugged him in, and we became employed, and now he's with his significant other. He's with his fixing to be wife. He's got his own home. He got a great job, money in the bank. And he just stopped by the other day to say thank you to Kevin and Vinny.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Those kind of success stories happen all the time. And let me talk about this. Far too frequently, we focus on what is the rate of recidivism, how many people go back. And regretfully, those numbers sometimes are in the 40 or 50%. REAP's percentage, 90% of our people are successes. That means that within the 2 years after they leave their prison, after they come into our program, they are still crime-free, they are self-sufficient, and they're going to be productive. 90%. That's a success rate. And you can translate that right into financial gain benefits to our community because it's a whole bunch easier to spend less money helping somebody do their own work. as opposed to trying to lock them up.
All right. Many thanks to all of you during this segment. Folks, as we head to break, there are many ways you can lend a helping hand. To find out more information about ReEntry Alliance Pensacola and all of its services, log on to the website www.reentry.org. We'll be back right after this. Hello, everyone. During this segment, we're happy to welcome back Vince Whibbs, Executive Director of ReEntry Alliance Pensacola. Rosetta Taylor, Director of Women's Reentry, is also sticking around for another segment. Next, it is a pleasure to welcome Pastor Lonnie Wesley III from Greater Little Rock Baptist Church. Now, there are some wonderful outreach initiatives at the church, Pastor Wesley, so please tell us how you were informed about the vital need for women's housing.
Specifically women's housing from REAP,
Yes.
but recidivism on the whole, just conversing with Rick Guy several years ago.
Okay.
And we had a similar ministry going on, transitioning house ministry at the time that we had to suspend. And when I was introduced to REAP, it was a match straight from heaven, trust me.
Right, checkmate. Absolutely. So I know that in 2019, that's when, Vince, women were able to benefit from this, correct?
That's correct. What happened was, thanks to Impact 100, an organization of women here in the community. In fact, it's one of the largest impact groups in the United States. We submitted an application because we saw a need to do something for women. Up to that point in time, we had not addressed the need, the women's need. And it is very real.
Oh, it is.
It's a smaller number, proportionally, probably 15% of the total population, but it was an area that had not been addressed at all in our community. Impact 100 was kind enough, gracious enough, to award us a grant of $100,000, which started the women's program. And basically, we partnered at that point in time with the Greater Little Rock Church.
Oh, yeah, great partner. Greater Little
Absolutely.
Rock. I have a picture coming to mind of all you standing outside the house. So, Greater Little Rock, and I know probably a lot of the people in the congregation more than likely have donated things. Is that right, Pastor?
Yeah, most of all time. The ladies of the church, they love to go over and share one-on-one if possible. Sometimes 3 or 4 at a time, man hours. That's first and foremost. But it's a ministry. I mean, is that not what we are supposed to do? We are the church.
You're right, Pastor.
And that's what we're supposed to do. And when the opportunity came, the opportunity presented itself.
Yes.
We were ready. We were positioned, and REAP had been positioned, and that's how you work together to answer the need.
One of the things that we found, because we hadn't done work with women, we needed some mentors. And right off the bat, the members of that congregation, Greater Little Rock, they came in and they were supportive. We spent about 3 months fixing up the house. They were over there every day working on that. And once we started moving women in, they've been a great help to us, that is for certain.
Rosetta, I know you can speak to that because let's say we have a woman who is approaching the house. She's hungry. Maybe she has a little one with her. What are some of the first thoughts that might come to her mind?
Where am I going to live? How in the world am I going to get a job? These things are very important because they have nothing. When they come out of prison, we often pick them up at the bus stop. And when they come to us, they have whatever couple of dollars they have in their pocket, and they keep going. But because of individuals like the ladies, the wonderful ladies that come out of Little Rock, they come over, they bring clothing. Sometimes they bring little gift baskets for them. And like Pastor said, it is the time that they spend, the quality time, the mentoring that you really, it's priceless. You cannot replace that, you know. It's real important because these women often, their value system may not be what others are that don't commit crimes. So as you have women that come in and mentor with these women, it gives them somebody else to be able to look up to, somebody else to be grateful for this in their life. Because when women go to prison, oftentimes they lose everybody. A lot of women will follow a lot of men in prison, but women don't have anybody typically that follows them. So when they come out, if they have no one, they have no one.
So when they get to that person, or when someone gets to them and say, listen, I've made similar mistakes, or I've made other mistakes greater than yours, and this is how I was blessed to make it. This is how I was blessed to change my mindset, which is, to me, I haven't said this to Vinny or to Kevin, but to me, that's the beauty of the program, to know that someone can make a mistake, pay their debts to society, and then instead of going back to the place that encouraged them to make those mistakes, they get to go somewhere else and then get the interviews, if you will, and the experiences with others who've made mistakes and were blessed to come out, and then they're blessed to go and get that new job and go into another housing situation that's not like the one that had them into jail in the first place.
You are absolutely right. So Rosetta, on average, let's say a woman would stay in one of the houses for maybe a few months, or is there a time constraint, or just tell us about that.
Well, one of the beautiful things about our program, typically we look for people to stay about 100 days to start getting on their feet. Now, the good thing is, because it is individualized, if someone is working and not quite ready to go on that 100th day, we don't have to say, oh, well, there's your 100th day, you've got to go. Many of the women understand that it's important that they work a program to really be able to get on their feet. So while they're working, it is our goal to get them out, to help them get on their feet within 100 days, but there is some flexibility there, so it works well.
We have this philosophy that we call it a graduate alumni of our program, and that is somebody who has got a place to stay and a job that's going to pay a living income. Right. And that's kind of what we're talking about. If we can do that, they could be a graduate alumni, and if they can do it in 3 weeks, great. If it takes them 6 months, it takes them 6 months.
But you will work with them.
Absolutely.
So on average, how many women could possibly stay in a house?
Well, I'm excited to say right now we have one house that's open. There are 8 women, at times 9 in that one house. But we are getting ready to open another house. So we'll have more space available for the second house for these women also.
We also, Pastor, have to think about the children. And I know there's so many ministries at the church and the mentorship. So for the little ones, let's say we have someone that maybe doesn't know their ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. Even through the mentorship program, the little ones are reached. Would you like to expand on that?
Well, the ladies that go over to volunteer, many of them are mothers. Some are single, but many are mothers. And so there's a natural progression of the conversation that deals with motherhood. I mean, I'm yet to take part in that when I'm there with them, of course, but I've been told of how good those conversations are going as well. So it's just all, again, a natural progression. You know, once I've been there and I have that experience, I'm able to reach you.
There's two things. You talk about it. The individuals need to have a mentor, okay? And the ladies at church act as mentors. The other thing for them, they need to recognize that they have value. And part of what the program does is it steps up and shows them that they do have value. They can regain that self-esteem that they have lost somewhere along the line.
Absolutely.
They matter, right, Rosetta?
Absolutely. And when you empower someone by letting them know they do matter, it really energizes them and helps them continue to move forward. Because a lot of people have lost a lot of self-esteem and self-worth through the process. So coming out and having mentors is huge.
And even tutorial services. Let's talk about academic services, because the women are coming out, but the children might need to be placed in a school, or if they're pre-K. So what's going to happen with that? And we know that the church is doing quite a bit, but we don't want to leave a child behind, right, Vince?
Absolutely. One of the things that's important to us is that we have to have the partners. We don't do all the work ourselves. And so we look to the community. And when we're outfitting the house, well, we need the sheets and the blankets, and the women need the clothes, stuff like that. But you need lots of other things. And so we're looking at other community service providers that can help us. And the local school board, the various PK programs around, those are all that are an important part of this. We got to work with the entire family.
Everybody. Speaking of reaping and sowing, Pastor, and I know that you love this, the ReEntry Alliance Pensacola Community Garden. Have you ever taken a walk through the garden?
Not yet. I'm looking forward to it.
You need to do
I've
that.
got a
right?
rake and a hoe for him.
I can do that too, Vince.
He has, as a matter of fact.
But that was one of the first things, wasn't it, Vince?
In fact, that was the first thing that Judge Rogers established. She wanted to have a community garden, and she envisioned it as a place where the attorneys, acting as mentors, could meet with their people, their mentees. And so for a period of about a year, this was a meeting place. The good news was that some of them actually had green thumbs, and we started producing vegetables and stuff like that. And so we basically partnered with Pensacola United Methodist Community Church right there. And the okra and the green beans and various different kinds of vegetables.
Are there collard greens in that garden?
There were some collard greens.
Okay.
I learned a lot.
But imagine this, because you need to till the soil, get everything ready, and rustling up those volunteers. They probably came running. Am I right, Vince?
No, they don't come running after. It depends on the weather.
Depends on
About the
weather.
middle of July, it's tough to find someone who wants to work in the garden.
But the harvest, Rosetta. I know we're going to be showing some exceptional pictures of the bounty from the garden. It's just amazing from the beginning, and then we have the end result and the people that partake of the garden. So who gets to reap the benefits?
All of the food that is produced, the produce, goes over, and it goes right back into that church. Because that church has operated a free meal, hot meal, 4 or 5 days a week for as long as I can speak and say that for at least 6 years, they've been providing food for that, and they use the produce from the garden.
That's exceptional. And Pastor Wesley, I think about the harvest, our harvest in life. Let our cups run over. Let us continue to give, give, give. And there are just so many things that the church is doing. And would you like to share a few more things that are happening at Greater Little Rock Baptist Church?
Well, just today we were blessed to feed 125 families. And whenever that happens, I count it a blessing to say that the ladies from the house are encouraged to come over and to get whatever food, and this is individual, that they need. When the second house is open, the ladies that are blessed to be there, they will receive the same opportunity. Come over and get not only the food that they need, but then prayerfully they'll be open to receive the mentoring that the ladies from the church will bring as well. So all of that's the first thing that's on my mind. And I don't want to belittle anything else, but again, it's the opportunity to share. We're not what we say we are with closed mouths.
Not at all. Rosetta, what are some of the most pressing items that women and children need in the houses? We know the second one's opening up soon.
One of the things that really helps a lot for us is when we have new women coming in, having little bags that have toiletries, toothpaste, deodorants, tissues. While we do provide some, it's an independent living situation, and they feel better when it's theirs. So those things are always good. Bus passes. The women don't have transportation, so they catch the buses. Oftentimes we do what we can to get them to places, but it is really important that they become independent so that they can depend on themselves. So that's also important.
And Vince, I know that you've gone to the house that's in existence right now. What are some of the reactions that you have received?
Well, right off the bat, we have the benefit of seeing what the house was before we moved in, and then what it is now. And over the past number of months, substantial improvements have been made to the first house, and then now the one that we're getting ready to open within a week, we will be opening up to, at this point in time, another 8 women. And so we're all excited. We have a waiting list, and we're ready to start filling them up. Rosetta's primed and ready to go.
You look
And
very
how
happy over there.
How exciting it is.
I see
because
that big smile on
it's
your face.
difficult to turn someone away who doesn't have a place to go. And with the women coming out, I know it's going to be an awesome opportunity for them.
I know I'm excited.
We are excited.
All right, stay right there, folks. Now, as we head to break, we want to show you some beautiful images of the ReEntry Alliance Pensacola Community Garden. From tilling soil to planting, it's a team effort, an exceptional labor of love. Don't touch that dial. We'll be back in a moment. Hello, everyone. We're happy to welcome back Vince Whibbs, Executive Director of ReEntry Alliance Pensacola. During this segment, we'll be focusing on volunteer initiatives for those who are still incarcerated. I'm happy to introduce John Woods, chapel volunteer at the Santa Rosa Correctional Institution. Plus, we have Rodney Jones, Executive Director of New World Believers. Rodney, let's start with you. What was the catalyst that sparked your interest in these outreach initiatives?
It had to be my unfortunate experience at living below the poverty line. In living below the poverty line, you find that there are a lot of issues that are taking place at that time. You find that there are a lot of lack of resources. There's a great lack of tools that can help individuals stabilize within those environments. And there's a lot of abuse, substance and otherwise. So having the opportunity to see all of these things within the community that I grew up, I felt that at some point in time, something will have to change within the dynamics of that system in order to help people stabilize and come out of those places. So that's what made me want to change, because of the impact that those situations and circumstances had on my life, to the degree that they sent me farther than I wanted to go and kept me longer than I wanted to stay. I had the unfortunate privilege of having to be in Florida Department of Corrections on multiple occasions, and seeing that environment, understanding the people in that environment, and understanding why they got to that environment. That's what prompted me to say, okay, something can be done about this. I can change my course. In fact, I can not only change my course, I can help others change their course. So I pursued every endeavor that I could to bring tools back to a community that I felt lacked the tools and the resources to truly stabilize and become productive members of this society. So that's what I did, and that was the catalyst. You know, just being able to experience that way of life, how that life impacted me, and me coming back to free world society, if you will, back to my community, and having nothing to go to but the same thing.
Exactly.
Somebody had to do something, so I chose
We'll
that
get
endeavor.
back to you in just a moment. I'm getting goosebumps already. So, John, let's talk about your volunteer initiatives at Santa Rosa Correctional Institution.
Okay.
Expand on that, please.
Okay, one of the things that I do is, and Rodney alluded to it, is try to change the thinking while they're still in. So I work with them while they're still in, and then hopefully when they do get out, REAP can take over and maintain that momentum, you know, for these individuals. So what I do is I teach classes,
All right.
primarily life skills type classes, parenting, anger management, loss and grief, those type of classes. I do teach a class on changing the brain and changing your life. And so what they do is they'll take my classes, and hopefully they'll learn something there and start thinking differently.
Yes.
So when they get out. Now, one of the things though, when I work with individuals on the inside, some of the individuals I work with actually will not be getting out. So I do work with lifers also. But one of the things working with lifers is hopefully their behavior will be different. So from a behavior management standpoint, their behavior is going to be different while they're in it. All my everything I teach is all faith-based. So I do it from a biblical standpoint. So God tells me I don't have to necessarily do everything, but He tells me to do something. and this is something I can do.
So on average, would a class last maybe 4 weeks, a few
9
months,
weeks.
or okay,
9 weeks, and some of them, the class I'm teaching right now, which is Change Your Brain, Change Your Life, it actually has been going on for 2.5 months, and I have 20 individuals in that class, and I do it through the chapel.
All right, back to you in just a moment. So, Vince, I know that we don't have representation from Santa Rosa Correctional Institution or Blackwater. I know that you have strong partnerships with both.
We do. REAP over the years has worked very closely with Century Correctional Institute, Blackwater Correctional Institute. It's a GO facility. Santa Rosa, we also work with Bay on a regular basis. Those facilities each house about 2,000 people. And at any given time, there'll be people that'll be coming back to our community. If you said how many coming back to Escambia and Santa Rosa County, about 2,000 people a year will be coming back. And it's important. And we talk about this partnership. The people talk about it all the time. That Maya Angelou said, it takes a community. It takes a village to raise a community. Right. And what I'm saying is, we have to all partner together. And it takes people that are going into the institutions. It's people that are working outside within the community. It's people that are working in organizations like ourselves to bring it all together. Right. Something you said, John. Something that we are all concerned about is what I call stinking thinking. And the reality is that someone has to get to somebody and say, hey, you've got to change what you were thinking about, the way you perceive things.
Exactly.
If you're going to change your life. Yeah. And you can change your life, as you know.
That's a fact.
That's right. And you can be a much, much better person, and you can contribute. You just have to get the mind straight.
Exactly.
However you get it done. Whoever you have to call on to help you get it.
Yeah, I tell a lot of the individuals, the way you think inside the prison, you can't think that way on the outside. The way you thought that got you in here, you can't think that way when you get out.
So Rodney, let's pick up where we left off with your story. Mm-hmm. So you were released, you were out there in society. Yeah. What fears faced you initially?
Every fear that a man faces when he understands he came from a place that taught him nothing or he learned nothing from it. So when he comes back to society, all he can expect to get is nothing. So I was terrified. I didn't have a higher education. I didn't have any training. I didn't have any real professional background or anything like that. So when a man finds himself in that type of position, the first thing he thinks about is resorting back to his old ways. That helps him get stable and move forward in the community. That's his thought process. So just thinking like that, I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. And not knowing how to navigate my community and find the resources or the places or the people to help me stabilize, I started to get discouraged. But all praise is due to the God that I serve now. I had an opportunity to be re-energized about what I could do, and that's what really turned me in the direction that I am in now, is the fact that I've really got an understanding of who I was. And once I got that understanding, I knew there was nothing that I couldn't accomplish. So that's where I started pursuing other endeavors to elevate myself first and then get in a position where I can help elevate others. I created one of the strongest transitional programs in this city. In fact, there are directors who've probably been on your show before who came out of my program.
New World Believers?
They have came out of my program.
Okay.
Individuals who've been here. But I try to work to be a benefactor to my community, because I understand our community still lacks a lot of resources.
It does.
Still lacks, even with what Vinny and them does, John, them, Kevin, all of them, and the work that I do, we still lack the resources that we truly need to help stabilize particular pockets and demographics of our community. And that's what has to happen. And so I continue to endeavor to get resources and bring resources here, like creating new programs for juveniles and things of that nature. If I have to look outside of this city to find resources, so be it. That's what we'll do.
So Vince, add to that, because listening to Rodney's story, it's a story that's echoed many places.
One of the things that I am constantly reminding of is someone told me, he said, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. And so what it says is, we've got to change people. We've got to help them change themselves. we've got to provide the kind of environment, the kind of support that they need to be able to make that positive change.
Absolutely.
And we can do it. We can do it.
We can.
It takes one-on-one. It takes, you know,
Time.
a church group. It takes time. It takes a community. It takes the resources. Let there be no doubt.
right.
But the resources that we ask for this kind of transformation is a whole much less than spending millions of dollars to renovate jails, courthouses, facilities like that. The kind of money that can be spent in reentry programs, and community support programs, and educational programs.
Yes.
That's the investment that we need to make, and that's where we're going.
John, back to you. One person can make
absolutely.
a difference. And I'm just curious, what sparked your interest in becoming a chapel volunteer?
Yeah. After I retired out of the Air Force, I started working with at-risk youth. I taught at a local alternative high school here in Pensacola for a while, and then I just kind of got involved with how do we change some of these lives and things. And then it was through an individual and through a Bible study that someone led me to see what you can do inside the prison, because they do that. And so then I got involved with a group called Family Integrity Training, and they provide all the material that I currently use in there. In fact, I'm co-author of the parenting book that we use in there. And so that's kind of what sparked my interest. I've been doing it since 2011, and so I do about 4 or 5 courses a year. And so I like doing it. Like I said,
I can tell you do.
You know, God calls me to do something. You know, He may call me to do something different next year, but right now this is what He's calling me to do.
Now I'm curious, Rodney, have you and John worked together? I'm getting that vibe. Am I right?
Yeah, we've worked together for quite some time, over the last decade.
Right.
We met, we became friends, and you know, we have the same interests. And that's trying to benefit the people of our community, to help them to some degree to overcome obstacles and be successful at their endeavors.
Yeah. And Rodney has a passion for youth, and so me and him have had some collaboration on some youth projects and things here in Pensacola.
Yep.
And so much more to come,
Yes,
right,
indeed.
Rodney? I know it is.
Right.
Now, Vince, getting out there, and I know you hear stories, don't you? People that have been released from jail or prison, and then they're yearning to try to get on the right track. There's that tug of war sometimes, right?
It really is a struggle, and it's not going to be easy. And I think the people that have been in that situation, and we all have been at one time or another, realize that there are some obstacles, and you've got to be able to address them. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of a deal, but you have to lean on the community, lean on the friends, the family. The resources are out there. We're lucky on that. One of the things, John, you mentioned, veterans. Here he is. He's out of the Air Force, retired. But we are fortunate that we have so many people that are retired in the military. In our own program, we have right now 3 of our case managers have prior military service. They know the important things in life, and they're able to act as mentors and role models, and we're blessed in that. I mean, we just got through with the Veterans Day, and we can't say enough to thank the people that were in our military service.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for that service. Now, Rodney, New World Believers, what would you say to someone out there that's watching, that's contemplating making a right decision or a wrong decision in life?
I would say think about that twice, because the decisions that we make affect us for the rest of our lives. I know when we're young, we don't think about the rest of our life. We just think about the moment. But I would tell an individual to just think about the consequences and repercussions that are going to occur, not just for him, but I'm talking about collateral consequences, the people who are around you.
That's right.
Those individuals that you hurt the most. You know, you might be young, you might be strong, and you might be able to do time. But there are people you leave behind that are not able to deal with it. So I say, please, think about what you're doing before you do it.
Mindset, right, John?
Exactly. And one of the things that I tell some individuals is, you know, the consequences for an individual action actually reverberates throughout your family. So it may be, you may be serving some time, but everybody else is suffering some consequences for your action.
Absolutely. Thanks to all of you. Now, folks, the conversation is just getting started. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
WSRE Public Television and the Escambia Elementary Principals Association congratulate these Shining Star Award recipients. These students were selected upon the basis of good citizenship and adherence to the core values adopted by the Escambia County School System: equality, responsibility, integrity, respect, honesty, and patriotism. Congratulations to all of these outstanding students.
Welcome back, everyone. During this segment, our focus is on mental and emotional support services for men and women who are reacclimating to society after experiencing a period of incarceration. I'd like to welcome Tasa Isaak, Director of Care Coordination Services at Lakeview Center. She's joined by Vince Whibbs, Executive Director of ReEntry Alliance Pensacola, including Alton Johnson, who's over the Rosa County Operation. So, Tasha, let's start with you. Please give us an overview of your responsibilities at Lakeview Center, including how your work there helps men and women take the steps they need to transition back into society.
I'd love to. I am responsible predominantly for the care coordination programs at Lakeview Center that follow a complete continuum and varying intensities depending upon need of the individual served. We work with individuals that are really in transitions, and that's really, I think, the key of what we're talking about here is people in transition, and we try to provide the support services that are necessary to help them bridge those gaps and become successful in the community, because after all, that's really what our mission is helping people navigate those challenges and stay healthy and well in the community, whether that's emotional health, physical health, or a combination of all those.
And sometimes we think of post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. Now, don't necessarily have to have served in the military to experience it. It could be something, maybe an experience while incarcerated.
Quite truly. You know, what we find quite often is we have a focus now on behavioral health called trauma-informed care. And what that really talks about, and when a community becomes trauma-informed, we understand necessarily that people have been through challenges. And sometimes those challenges, they don't have to have been, you know, cataclysmic, you know, earthquakes or anything of that nature, but it just has to have been terrifying or scary, you know, to that individual to become traumatic and then have some you know, some long-lasting effects.
Absolutely. Vince, the partnership that you have with Lakeview Center, it is vital. Tell us why.
Absolutely, and I've got to say first, the actual facilities that we use is provided as a result of Baptist Healthcare.
Oh, yes.
And we call on Lakeview Center almost on a daily basis. Most of the people that we deal with, I would say at least 70%, have some kind of addiction, psychological problem. It could be alcohol, it could be a mental health issue, it could be drugs, but there is some kind of a problem that needs some directed help. So that partnership with Lakeview is critical. I want to tell a little story. We talked about this post-traumatic stress. About 2 weeks ago, we admitted into our program an individual who was originally convicted as a juvenile. And 44 years later, it was determined that he was improperly sentenced, and so he got released to the community. So the last 44 years, he has been incarcerated. And you can imagine, no, we can't imagine, the trauma that he would endure as he walks out that door. They give him the gate, and they say, all right, fine, good luck and have a successful life. he needs some substantial help.
He does.
And the reality is that we have to look to service providers like Lakeview to step in and say, we need you, and we know you need the help, and we're here to help you. And that's why we're so grateful for Lakeview. And there are other organizations that Health and Hope Clinic here, and Cordova Counseling. Now there are a lot of community service partners that we have to work with.
Alton, South Santa Rosa County Operation. On a daily basis, I know that you see quite a bit regarding anxiety and other things that might trigger certain emotions. What has been your experience on the job?
Go back to what we were just talking about. We have a drug problem in our area, whether it be Santa Rosa and Escambia County, and most any other county in the state of Florida. And that drug use could very often brings about mental health issues. So you have to treat the mental health issues, and then you got to do the drug treatment side of it. So it's not an easy task, and it's incarcerating them is not the answer. It's costly, and without the community partners that REAP has, you can imagine what that would cost a local county if you had 700 people in the county jail that needed those services, that can't tap into that resource to have those services. No.
Vince, I also think about mentorships, maybe someone who was an alcoholic, right? Alcoholics Anonymous, helping people get through these situations. You mentioned the drug problem.
One of the advantages that we have is our community does provide a number of services that are available. And I'll talk specifically. We were originally housed over there at Richards Memorial United Methodist Church, and they have 3 different AA meetings that meet on a regular basis. They also have an NA group. They have a Celebrate Recovery. All these different kinds of organizations. They're self-help. They're cooperative ventures that are designed to make that person come out of that deep dark hole that they have in, and be able to prosper and survive. And that's it's absolutely necessary. They've got to have that support.
So Celebrate Recovery. Will you talk a little bit more about that?
Okay, that organization meets. The one that I am most familiar with meets on a weekly basis. Normally is a group of about 15 people, and people that have all different kinds of psychological problems, but they are grouped together with a common interest, and that is to move forward and make a better life for themselves and their family. And they do it through there's counselors there, and there are individuals that are sitting there that have been participating. And the same is very, very true of the AA groups that meet on a regular basis throughout the community.
Tasha, what are some of the most pressing needs that you have run into from people that you have assisted?
Well, one of the biggest needs that we have in this community is housing. That is a very pressing issue for most of the folks that we work with. Access to health care, medications sometimes become a barrier, so we try to remove as many of those barriers as we can by partnering with individuals and collaborating with our partners.
Alton, I think about giving back, and yes, Vince, giving back. There is a pressing need for more volunteers. Why do you think, is there a hesitancy, do you think? Maybe people not knowing the full scope of what a volunteer would do? Can you help ease their minds and give them an idea about volunteerism in REAP?
Absolutely. The population that we work with is for years has not been a population that people wanted to work with. Through the and it's sad to say, but through the drug use in the epidemic, it has touched about every family. Some part of somebody's family has been touched by the drug use. And once that happens, we get more and more people calling, how can we help? First, they call about trying to help an individual in their family. And then whenever they start seeing the needs, they say, how can we help? And the mentoring is a good opportunity to help as far as being that person, take them to their appointments, spend time with them. Basically, just being that encouragement, because they're going to have bad days, they're going to have rough times. You're on your mental health side of it, because we deal with a dual diagnosis client most of the time, whether it be a drug use and the mental health issues. One or the other could have brought along the other.
Okay.
But the way that our community can help is just they can do a financial support. They're always need, they toiletries. I think Rosetta mentioned that earlier.
She did.
As far as the bags of hygiene, socks, in this type of weather, it's cold. The Long Johns, coats, anything like that. That a lot of them, when they first get out, until they until they start work, they don't have the income to buy the things they need.
I'm going to jump on here right now. We're in the process right now of opening up basically 3 houses, 2 over in Milton and 1 women's home. And so automatically you need furniture, you need washers and dryers. We don't expect them to be new. We're glad to have the ones that are operable. Clothing is always a necessity, okay? And we get people that are being released and they literally have the clothes on their back. And
that's
one pair, and that's it. And so say whatever it is, we take it. And I got a call today from someone who was closing down a condo over at Perdido Key, and he says, "Come over and pick up all the furniture. We want you to have it all."
What a blessing!
And I mean, she said, "Can you?" I said, "We can do it tomorrow."
We need it in Santa Rosa.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, spread the love, right?
I've got a promise.
Don't leave anybody out. Those are the types of things, right? And I know that heart, that love, Tasha, being an encouragement, that is such an element that everyone should hopefully harness, loving one another and giving back. And REAP is definitely doing that, and all the volunteers out there in partnering organizations, right, Vince?
I would tell you this, that the people that are associated with REAP, whether they are the staff or the volunteers, are the people that are the beneficiaries of it. They love what they're doing. They see it as a ministry for themselves, and you get more out of it than you really get.
Wonderful, and many thanks to all of you. Folks, as we close the show, I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us. There are so many community partnerships that have been forged to help those previously incarcerated become reacclimated to society. Once again, we also want to share contact information for ReEntry Alliance Pensacola. Simply log on to the website, www.reentry.org. I'm Rameca Vincent Leary. Have a good evening, and remember to keep it locked in right here on WSRE, PBS for the Gulf Coast.